Monarch's war arc begins after the International Guild Conference arc as the Frost Monarch appears at the Korean Hunters Association to kill Chairman Gunhee. Chairman Go wonders if there is any way to communicate with the Monarch and realizes that he cannot feel his presence. He acknowledges that the Frost Monarch is not an opponent he can handle. The Frost Monarch creates a completely new dimension to isolate them from the outside world. Chairman Go is shocked and begins to think he might be dreaming. Suddenly, the Frost Monarch attacks his shoulder with ice magic and questions if the pain feels like a dream to him. Chairman Go acknowledges that it is indeed reality and demands to know who the Frost Monarch is. The Frost Monarch realizes that Chairman Go does not recognize him and dismisses him as just a human. The Frost Monarch releases his mana and declares that he has no interest in the weak. He suggests that Chairman Go should show his fragment of brilliant light. The Frost Monarch questions if Fragment of Brilliant Light is afraid that his vessel would break if he reveals his true powers. He remarks that Chairman Go will die anyway and decides that talking to him is a waste of time. The Frost Monarch attacks with powerful ice magic, sending shockwaves throughout the room. Suddenly, he notices Chairman Go activating his powers and decides to attack again. Chairman Go punches the attack away with a single hand. He observes that the attack breaks the glass but reveals nothing outside. Chairman comments that he is impressed by the Frost Monarch's ability to isolate his office in a dimensional gap. The Frost Monarch reveals that he has been searching for the greatest brilliant light for a long time, referring to Chairman Go's vessel. He admits that he never expected the light to be trapped in a broken vessel, unable to control its powers. He declares that he has found all 7 rulers and has already killed 2 of them, and vows to destroy Chairman Go's vessel without any regrets. Chairman Go confidently accepts the Frost Monarch's challenge and tells him to give it his best shot. The Frost Monarch, seeing Chairman Go's confidence, calls it a foolish attempt and claims that Chairman Go stands no chance against him. He explains that he has taken over his body completely, whereas the ruler has only borrowed the body as a vessel. Both begin powering up as the Frost Monarch attacks with ice magic. Chairman Go shatters the ice and dashes forward at the Frost Monarch. The Frost Monarch creates a weapon out of ice, but Chairman Go dodges the attack and counters. The Frost Monarch blocks the attack and freezes Chairman Go's entire hand, but Chairman Go breaks free. Chairman Go realizes that he needs to finish the fight quickly before his body gives out and tries to punch the Frost Monarch. The Frost Monarch blocks the attack with an ice barrier, but moves back to reduce the impact of the punch. Chairman Go suddenly feels his body failing as he reaches his limit. The Frost Monarch comments that Chairman Go is at his limit and calls him a disappointing attempt. He leaps forward and pierces Chairman Go's chest with an ice weapon, causing him to cough blood. The Frost Monarch remarks that the Fragment of Brilliant Light will need 1 or 2 years to find another vessel, while their army is already prepared for battle. He claims that the rulers made a mistake by trying to protect the inhabitants of this world. Frost Monarch questions if the monarchs seem too weak to the rulers and if they could defeat them while directing their attention elsewhere. Chairman Go laughs and grabs the ice weapon, declaring that he did not fight for no reason and that the Frost Monarch has overlooked a crucial variable. The Frost Monarch confused demands to know what the variable is. Chairman Go launches a flame attack at the Frost Monarch, and Frost Monarch barely dodges it. Frost Monarch questions if this is Chairman Go's trump card. Even in his final moments, Chairman Go laughs, realizing that his actual plan has worked and successfully breaks out of the dimensional gap. The Frost Monarch remarks that breaking out of the dimension will not change the outcome. Chairman Go calmly commands the ant shadow assigned to him to flee. The Frost Monarch is confused about how one ant shadow could achieve anything. He finally realizes that the shadow belongs to the Shadow Monarch and leaps at it, attempting to destroy it. To his surprise, Gunhee appears and effortlessly blocks the attack. Gunhee grabs the Frost Monarch by the throat and questions what he truly is asking, if he is an ice elf. The Frost Monarch questions, thinking he is the Shadow Monarch, about why he has not contacted them despite having a massive army of soldiers. Gunhee recalls the ice elf he failed to extract as a shadow, referring to Barca, and feels slightly irritated. The Frost Monarch speculates that Gunhee might be the crucial variable and unleashes his ice breath, freezing Gunhee's hand. Gunhee wonders if the Frost Monarch is a mage-type hunter and brings out his S-rank daggers to shatter the ice. Realizing he cannot compete with the Shadow Monarch, the Frost Monarch decides to flee and reminds Gunhee of Chairman Go's condition. Gunhee suddenly recalls that the shadow was assigned to Chairman and becomes worried. He looks at the association building and sees Chairman Go with a hole in his chest. The The Frost Monarch creates a distraction by attacking Chairman with an ice arrow and taunts Gunhee, saying that he can either fight him or save Chairman. Gunhee attempts to control the arrow using his commander's authority, but the system notifies him that his opponent's mana is resistant to it. Frustrated, Gunhee decides to block the arrow himself. He jumps at it and throws his dagger near the glass and successfully deflects the arrow. Suddenly, Gunhee notices the Frost Monarch attempting to escape by opening a portal. Gunhee uses his dagger rush skill to attack with multiple daggers simultaneously. The Frost Monarch blocks most of the daggers, but one strikes his back. Enraged, the Frost Monarch expresses disbelief that a mere human vessel inflicted a wound on him. He bids farewell to the Shadow Monarch, stating that he will wait for him, and suggests taking Chairman Go as his shadow as a gift. Gunhee remembers Chairman Go and realizes it is too late for healing. He commands Beru to check on Chairman. Beru arrives at the association and Gunhee orders him to save Chairman's life at all costs. Beru attempts to use his healing magic, but it fails to work on Chairman. Gunhee decides to use the elixir of life, but Chairman Go stops him, requesting not to use any healing potions. Chairman thanks Gunhee for coming to save him. Gunhee pleads with him to hold on, saying that he will take him to a hospital. Chairman Go explains that it is no use and that no human doctor can help with the powers that attacked him. He expresses gratitude for having Gunhee on their side and admits he never thought Gunhee could possess such powers and thanks God for this. Chairman Go reflects that gates and dungeons were created to protect humans and that the rulers decided to protect all the humans this way. He tells Gunhee that one day he will have to make a decision and requests him to choose humanity's side when that day comes. Chairman expresses his desire to have fought alongside other hunters like him, but his body never allowed it. He states that he has no regrets and is leaving the world's protection to the younger generation. In his final words, Chairman Go reflects on his thousands of heartbeats, knowing he does not have much time left. He expresses relief that he met Gunhee and feels comforted knowing Gunhee will protect humanity. Chairman Go Gunhee thanks Gunhee for everything and slowly closes his eyes with a tear of happiness. Meanwhile, Chairman Go's death becomes the front page news of several magazines, reporting that he was brutally murdered after suffering a stab wound to his chest. The media also reports that Jonas's dead body was found in a river. With the deaths of 3 elite hunters, the world falls into a state of panic. Major media outlets across the globe cover the news, and the Federal Bureau issues a statement regarding their deaths. People begin to worry about who will protect the hunters when they are supposed to protect humans from magic beasts. The scene shifts to Chairman Go's funeral, which Gunhee attends with Manager Wu. Gunhee notices Manager Wu in a state of depression and asks if he is okay. Manager Wu admits that he has been feeling down lately, unable to process Chairman Go's death. He questions if the magic beast that killed Chairman was uncontrollable even with Gunhee's powers. Gunhee explains that it was too late by the time he reached Chairman. Manager Wu expresses disbelief that Chairman is gone and feels miserable, remembering how Chairman requested to hear everything about Gunhee's trip to the States. He thanks Gunhee for being with Chairman in his final moments. Gunhee requests him not to thank him yet and says he should wait until he kills the Frost Monarch. Gunhee swears upon his life to get revenge. Gunhee requests Manager Wu to gather reporters for a press conference. Reporters flood the conference, and Gunhee announces that a group of beasts with high intelligence is targeting elite hunters. He explains that these beasts are stronger than any other hunters and will stop at nothing to achieve their goals. One reporter asks if the beast that killed Chairman was working alone. Gunhee clarifies that these beasts use magic to isolate their targets before attacking. He warns hunters who might be potential targets to stay with their colleagues at all times. Gunhee, remembering that these beings are monarchs, acknowledges that no ordinary hunters can defeat them. He offers to be contacted through the Korean Hunters Association for those who do not have colleagues. Meanwhile, the scene shifts to a discussion among the monarchs as the Frost Monarch informs them that the Shadow Monarch is on Earth. Yogamut recalls that the Frost Monarch previously stated there is no human vessel capable of containing the Shadow Monarch's powers, and adds that the same applies to the Dragon King, as it is impossible to find a vessel for him as well. The Frost Monarch confidently declares that the human is indeed the Shadow Monarch and that he is a greater threat than the fragments of brilliant light. He announces his intention to eliminate the Shadow Monarch and requests their help. Tarnak warns that fighting the Shadow Monarch is equivalent to choosing death and describes him as the strongest monarch. He suggests waiting for the Dragon King's return. The Frost Monarch, frustrated, accuses them of running away and reminds them that they are still monarchs. He expresses his unwillingness to rely on the Dragon King anymore and explains that this is their best chance to kill the Shadow Monarch while he is still in human form. He pleads with the monarchs again to join him in defeating the Shadow Monarch. Tarnak refuses to get involved, and Yogumund explains that he does not want to meet the same fate as the Monarch of White Flames. Rakan calls them cowards, but Tarnak responds that he does not want to be controlled by the Shadow Monarch and fall into eternal slumber. Rakan argues that the monarchs have astral bodies, so the Shadow Monarch cannot control them. Tarnak counters by stating that both the Shadow Monarch and the Architect have joined forces and can replicate their copies, referring to Baran, and he does not want to become their pawn. Both Yogumund and Tarnak leave after explaining their reasons for not opposing the Shadow Monarch. Rakan, wanting to confirm that the Shadow Monarch is still in human form, questions the Frost Monarch about it. The Frost Monarch explains that during their previous encounter, he was attacked with a poisoned dagger, which is something the Shadow Monarch would not typically do. Horatia agrees with the Frost Monarch's intuition, confirming that the Shadow Monarch would not resort to such a petty trick. Both Horatia and Rakan decide to help the Frost Monarch in his plan to kill the Shadow Monarch. Meanwhile, the scene shifts to Jinnu, who reflects on how Chairman Go expressed his feelings that he could die peacefully after Jinnu completed the Jeju Island raid, but never thought Chairman would die so soon. Jinnu attempts to detect the Frost Monarch's mana, but fails. He recalls what the King of Giants said about rulers and monarchs having astral bodies, which prevents them from being turned into shadows. Jinnu realizes that he cannot track the monarch's movements using his shadows, but resolves that as long as he is a hunter, he will not let his prey escape. Meanwhile, the scene shifts to the Hunters Association, where everyone begins questioning who will become the next chairman. One board member explains that Chairman Go Gunhee, being an S-rank hunter, held great significance for the position. Another board member questions if they should consider hiring S-rank hunters from other countries, but warns that they should be cautious of S-rank hunters. He further suggests that after careful consideration, Manager Wu would be the perfect candidate for the role. Caught off guard, Manager Wu questions why he was selected. The board members explain their reasoning, stating that Manager Wu was Chairman Go's right hand and possesses both practical and leadership skills. They add that there is no rule requiring the chairman of the association to be an S-rank hunter, and that Manager Wu's past experience as a surveillance team manager would be a great asset for the position. Manager Wu calmly responds that he might not be the best choice for the position, and that there are others with more experience than him. The board members confidently state that Manager Wu has the power to mobilize the forces of Korean hunters and is on good terms with major guilds and is well acquainted with Sung Jinnu. Manager Wu remarks that despite their many encounters, Jinnu might not think they are close. The board members request Manager Wu to carefully consider the offer before rejecting it. Meanwhile, the scene shifts to the Scavenger Guild headquarters, where Thomas heads to the basement of the building. The security team starts shaking nervously upon seeing Thomas. Laura questions if Thomas is certain about giving the dagger as a gift to Jinnu. Thomas responds that the dagger is nothing compared to the lives of his guild members, and questions if Laura thinks Jinnu is not qualified to use it. Thomas opens a secret room where he has stored the most powerful dagger and comments that the dagger never ceases to impress him. Laura remarks that there are only 2 of these daggers in the world and expresses surprise that Thomas is willing to give one away. Thomas responds that he does not want the world's best weapon to rot in his headquarters. Meanwhile, Manager Wu is officially announced as the chairman of the Hunters Association. Jinna sees the news and remarks that she never expected Manager Wu to become a chairman. She calls him a stunner and reflects on how surprising it is. She then shifts her focus to her mom, and her mom requests Jinna to throw out waste food, and Jinna mentions that she is too lazy to do it. Her mom asks Jinna to at least fold the laundry by calling her sweet daughter. Jinna responds that her mom only thinks she is sweet when she needs her to do chores. Suddenly, Jinna notices something outside and goes to inform her mom. Meanwhile, the scene shifts to outside the Ajin Guild, where a group of reporters is waiting. They are in disbelief that Thomas is visiting the Ajin Guild. Inside the office, Thomas is patiently waiting for Jinho, while Jinho starts sweating nervously, but hides it with a big smile. Jinho also notices Lennart Nierman, the strongest hunter in Germany, visiting their office. Lennart is ranked 12th, according to the Federal Bureau of Hunters ranking system. It has already been 2 hours since both of them arrived, and Jinho tries to contact Jinhu multiple times, but gets no response. Lennart wonders if he will get to meet Jinhu, as Thomas is also waiting to see him. Thomas questions if Jinhu is in the middle of a raid, and comments that Jinhu must not visit the office very often, and Jinho responds with a yes. Suddenly, Jinhu shows up at the office, and all the staff feel relieved that he has arrived, and Thomas greets Jinhu with a hello. Jinhu finally understands why so many reporters are gathered downstairs, and realizes because of Thomas. Jinho questions why Jinwoo has not been answering his calls, and Jinwoo explains that he has been busy with the increasing number of gates spawning everywhere. He thinks to himself that both Beru and Igris are close to ranking up as well. Thomas walks over to Jinwoo, and Jinho, seeing both of them together, silently prays that they do not fight again. Jinwoo questions Thomas about his reason for visiting Korea. Thomas reminds him that he promised to grab a bite together once his arm healed, and mentions that he also brought a gift for Jinwoo. Jinwoo gets a bit excited at the mention of a gift, and Thomas, noticing Jinwoo's interest, requests that they go somewhere else, as the gift is dangerous. Jinho starts shaking nervously after hearing the word dangerous, and wonders if it might be a bomb or a trap. Jinwoo notices another hunter waiting for him, and wonders if the hunter is there to ask for protection. Lennart introduces himself, but Thomas abruptly interrupts and insists that Jinwoo should leave with him. Lennart boldly claims that he has been waiting for Jinwoo for 2 hours as well, and demands to tag along. Thomas, with a commanding tone, states that the matters they are discussing are top secret and that there is no room for Lennart. Lennart becomes frustrated with Thomas, as this is the first time he has been treated this way. Both Thomas and Jinwoo head out for dinner, and Thomas expresses that he has been waiting for this moment for a very long time. He signals his staff to bring the weapon, and Jinwoo becomes excited, wondering what the gift could be. Thomas asks if Jinwoo can feel its power, and slowly opens the case to reveal a dagger made from Kamish. He explains that this is his way of repaying Jinwoo for sparing his and his guild members' lives. Jinwoo questions if the dagger is made from Kamish's corpse. Thomas, impressed by Jinwoo's ability to recognize the material with a single glance, explains that they handed over Kamish's corpse to the government since it was highly valuable. However, he was given Kamish's largest and sharpest fang as a souvenir after pulling it out when Kamish bit him. Thomas adds that since the fang was too short to be made into a longsword, he had it turned into a pair of daggers, and now gives them to Jinwoo. Jinwoo picks up one of the daggers, and the system notifies him that the dagger has an additional 1500 attack damage. In comparison, the S-rank daggers Jinwoo usually uses only have 220 additional attack damage. Jinwoo starts testing the dagger, swinging it lightly, and Thomas warns him not to play with it, and explains that the dagger is so sharp it could slice through him, even if he used his reinforcement skill to strengthen his defenses. Thomas jokingly questions if Jinwoo is planning to kill him with the gift he just gave him. Jinwoo realizes that this is no ordinary dagger, as it strongly reacts to its mana. Everyone around them begins to feel the mana waves emanating from Jinwoo, and starts sweating nervously. Thomas turns to Laura and asks if she still thinks giving the daggers to Jinwoo was a mistake. Laura agrees with Thomas's decision, acknowledging that Jinwoo is the right person to wield them. Thomas asks Jinwoo for his opinion on the daggers. Jinwoo questions if it is truly okay for him to have such a powerful weapon. Thomas reassures him that the daggers are a small price to pay compared to the lives of his guild members. Jinwoo responds that he will gladly accept the gift. Suddenly, both Thomas and Jinwoo sense a powerful mana. All the pedestrians around them look up and see the largest gate ever opened in the sky. Jinwoo wonders if this is the same magisphere that Dr. Belzer had spoken about. Thomas, staring at the massive gate, comments that he has never seen anything like it before, and notes that it is even larger than the gate Kamish had burst out of. Meanwhile, everyone starts snapping pictures of the massive gate as reporters begin covering the event. They remark that the gate has covered the entire sky above the city and is the largest gate ever seen. All the residents come outside to witness the phenomenon, but none of them look happy seeing the gate. Meanwhile, the scene shifts to Dr. Belzer, who explains that the gate in South Korea is just the beginning, and warns that similar events will happen in other major countries. One of the members questions how to handle the situation, considering Dr. Belzer has been researching gates and magic beasts for a long time. However, Dr. Belzer states that all they can do is pray that this unprecedented event does not end in tragedy. Meanwhile, the scene shifts to Jinwoo, who tries to enter the gate with Kaisel. To his surprise, he is unable to enter, as it feels like some sort of wall is blocking him. Jinwoo thinks that if this were an ordinary gate, he could have broken it down, but this gate prevents even an awakened hunter from entering. He wonders if the magic beasts inside are different from the ones he has encountered before, and decides that he will not let anything inside go easy, as he must protect his family and friends. Suddenly, Jinwoo receives a call from Chairman Wu, who questions where Jinwoo is, as he cannot hear his voice properly. Jinwoo responds that he is somewhere up high, and says that he should call him Chairman from now on. Chairman Wu replies that Jinwoo can call him whatever he prefers, and admits that he still feels awkward about his promotion. Jinwoo reminds Chairman Wu of his earlier request, and Chairman Wu explains that they already conducted a satellite scan of the entire world and found no new gates anywhere else. Jinwoo is surprised to hear this and notes that it has been 3 hours since the gate spawned and no new gates have appeared since then, and concludes that this is not a coincidence. Chairman Wu explains to evacuate all civilians near the gate step by step to avoid chaos and asks Jinu about his plans. Meanwhile, Jinu begins training with Beru in the hunter's gym. Beru attacks Jinu with multiple strikes, but Jinu dodges every single one of them. Beru lunges at Jinu with his claws, but Jinu blocks the attack with one hand and questions if Beru is giving it his all. Beru kneels before Jinu and explains that he cannot possibly attack his king. Jinu reassures him that it is fine and that he wants to train harder as Beru is the only one who can truly help him. Beru expresses his gratitude, saying he is deeply moved by Jinu's words. Jinu comments that Beru's vocabulary is improving every day and jokingly asks if he ate another human. He then commands Beru to continue their fight. Beru powers up and leaps at Jinu, but Jinu effortlessly dodges. Beru tries to punch Jinu, but Jinu blocks the punch with his hand and remarks that Beru has grown stronger since reaching the commander rank. Beru launches multiple attacks, but Jinu dodges all of them and counters with a powerful strike to Beru's stomach. Jinu warns Beru that there should only be one commander in his army and that once Igris and Greed reach the general rank, they will take Beru's position. He advises Beru to work harder to become even stronger. Beru, motivated by Jinu's words, decides not to hold back anymore, and the two continue their fight. Jinu realizes that although Beru is the strongest among his shadows, he is still far from the level of the monarchs. Noticing Jinu's momentary distraction, Beru attempts to attack, but Jinu grabs his hand and uses his stealth skill to disappear. Beru misses his attack, and Jinu reappears behind him, delivering a punch that sends Beru crashing into the wall. Beru praises Jinu's strength, calling himself a lowly servant and expressing amazement at Jinu's almighty power. Jinu tells Beru to stop watching historical dramas for a while, and suddenly notices that the entire gym is wrecked. Out of nowhere, Jinu receives a call from Chairman Wu. Jinu nervously explains that he has a total workforce of 300 ants who will clean the gym. Meanwhile, the scene shifts to Thomas and Laura. Laura questions if Thomas plans to stay behind, and Thomas responds that he does not want to leave such a big and beautiful gate. Laura remarks that the gate is big, but not beautiful. Thomas explains that anything that stirs the heart is beautiful, and adds that Kamish and Sung Jinu are both beautiful. He admits that he wants all beautiful things for himself. Laura points out that even Thomas cannot have everything he desires, and mentions that the Federal Bureau is worried about him. Thomas responds that there is no point in going back since no new gates have appeared, and staying by Jinu's side is the safest place to be. He adds that if the gate is not stopped, there will be nothing left to worry about. Thomas concludes that this gate might mark the end of humanity or the beginning of something new. All the residents begin evacuating the area where the gate has spawned. Gina questions why they are not evacuating, and her mom explains that it is better to choose where to die if the place turns into a war zone. She adds that houses in their district are not advised to evacuate. Gina angrily expresses that she is planning to go to college next year and wants to enjoy her youth and college life. She declares that she does not want to die when her life is just about to start. Her mom agrees with her and confidently assures her that Jinu will protect her just like their father did. Meanwhile, the scene shifts to Jinu, who wonders where the monarchs are hiding as he cannot sense their presence. He starts thinking about clearing the gate and questions if he can do it without sacrificing himself, and reflects on how much he has to protect now, and decides that he does not want to spend his time just checking the gate. Jinu checks his phone to see if he has any friends to spend time with, and suddenly remembers Cha Hain. Meanwhile, the scene shifts to Cha Hain, and Cheol notices some hesitation in her lately. He expresses concern that she might be feeling fear in her heart, and remarks that it is natural to feel terrified as he feels the same way. Suddenly, Chan receives a call, and Cheol advises her to answer it as it might be an important matter. Cha Hain speaks on the phone and with a blushy face tells Cheol that she needs to leave as something has come up. She bows her head to her master, and Cheol, seeing her reaction, feels happy for her. Meanwhile, the scene shifts to Jinu and Cha Hain go to an amusement park. Everyone starts whispering upon seeing Jinu with Cha Hain and wonders if she is Jinu's girlfriend. Jinu notices the crowd and remarks that he thought the place would be empty considering the circumstances. Cha Hain asks if Jinu likes amusement parks, and Jinu responds that he is not particularly interested in them, but has always wanted to visit one. Cha Hain asks why he chose to come with her, and Jinu explains that she is his only friend. He reminds her of the time she told the architect that she was his friend. Cha Hain blushes deeply and asks if he heard her words. Jinu responds that he has has better hearing than most people. Cha-haen inquires about the dungeon, and Jinwoo explains that he will share everything later, as he is still processing many things himself. Cha-haen looks around and notices the shadows shielding them. She remarks that the shadows might be drawing even more attention to them. Jinwoo explains that it is fine as long as the shadows block people's sight. Cha-haen suddenly realizes that this is the first time she has gone out for fun since becoming a hunter. She remarks that her heart feels so light now, and that being with Jinwoo feels different, as he has a special scent. Jinwoo asks if she wants to go on all the rides, and Cha-haen smiles and says she wants to try every single one of them. Seeing her reaction, Jinwoo realizes that he is not the only one who wanted to come here. Both of them go on rides and visit a haunted house and then eat food together. Jinwoo questions if Cha-haen is not having fun, as she has been quiet the entire time. Cha-haen responds that she is having a lot of fun. Jinwoo realizes that the rides might have felt slow to her since she is an S-rank hunter. He offers to take her somewhere truly thrilling, and both of them go for a ride on Kaisel. Jinwoo asks for her opinion on the ride, and Cha-haen responds that they are going very fast and flying at a high altitude. She remarks that the scenery is beautiful and asks why Jinwoo prefers an amusement park over this ride. Jinwoo explains that his father went missing in a gate that spawned in the same amusement park. Cha-haen thanks Jinwoo for everything he has done for her. Jinwoo mentions that there is something he wants to show her and takes her to a forest with an amazing night sky. Cha-haen feels happy spending time with Jinwoo and enjoys the moment. Meanwhile, the scene shifts to a B